Hey, what's up, guys? I was just about to log out. I did my reaction, my recap of X-Men 97 number 3, and lo and behold, I have the X-Men aficionado. Did I say that right? Aficionado or aficionado? I don't know.
Uh, I think the first one.
I've got the X-Men expert on the line, and we're going to chop it up just to get his quick review of Fire Made Flesh. This episode 3 of X-Men 97. So, Teddy, introduce yourself. How you doing, man?
Hey guys, hey Josh, good to see you again. Thanks for having me. I'm glad I caught you right at the end of you reacting. I kind of wish I got to see, but I'm sure I'll look back at it and see your reaction. So,
Oh, you
uh,
gonna see what I said. Well, as I talk about this steamy episode. When I say steamy, I mean I'll tell you, hey, look, your girl, the Goblin Queen, she had her brother feeling some kind of way, man. The animation, I don't know what it is, man. What's that animation where the character said, "Hey, I'm not sexy, I'm just drawn that way." Was that was Cool World, wasn't it?
it's
Or
cool.
something like that. Cool
Uh,
World. Remember that movie Cool World where she said, "No, I'm not sexy. I'm just drawn that way," or something like that.
oh, that
Anyway,
sounds.
I was thinking about that when I was seeing the character designs of the Goblin Queen, and I don't know, man. Hot Jean is kind of hot, man. I was like, man, let me calm down a little bit, you know. But anyway, enough of my perversions or whatever. But so what's your overall thoughts of the episode? What did you think? Did it move you in any way? What did you think of the performances? What's your overall thoughts of this episode?
Yeah. So, I mean, going off what you said about the Goblin Queen, I mean, first off, her already making that disclaimer, she is the Goblin Queen. Already just you put it out there, right? Now it's
Exactly.
like it exists. All our theories and stuff of her. I mean, she looks a lot more diabolical, and like you said, there's a lot more spice on that now with Jean Grey clone,
Yeah,
Madam Pryor.
yeah.
Making the OG Rogue look a certain way. You know what I mean?
Hey, look,
Yeah.
I think there's something to be said. Once that hair got blown out, because her hair and everything changed, I was like, a little
Mm-hmm.
different. Ain't once that is that what a hair blowout does for someone? Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, no, the reality warping and her power set, you
Mm,
got to see the extent of her abilities, which was cool to see because you got to see the whole like the institute, the school getting um all around with everybody being put in situations and everybody realizing, oh my God, what is happening right now? And you
mm.
get the it was almost like we're all on LSD or something, or like, you got to see people getting like molded together with freaking Magneto and
Right,
Rogue, like
right.
like they were, yeah, it looked kind of like a horror movie for a second.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and then I had a friend who messaged me afterwards and was like, "Man, Scott Summers jeans, man. You know that Missy Elliott theme song, the milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. Scott Summers jeans brings, his DNA brings all the
Right.
he's
Yeah,
got it
don't
wrong.
sleep on Scott, man. He's got two women. I'm like, I'll just keep both of them, you
Yep.
know. But
and and
yeah,
it led also to this the swap, like thinking about when did Jean Grey get swapped, and you have to kind of recall to when Mr. Sinister kidnapped them for experimenting and went to, I think, the Savage Land, I believe, way back
Savage Land. Yep.
and so wondering about Nate Gray, Cable,
Hmm.
and in that storyline, eventually, I think they're going to touch upon that, and then you got to see Bishop take him with, with
The
the virus,
time,
the
yeah,
techno, what is it, the techno virus, right?
technical organic virus. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to see that, and I'm sure they're going to eventually show Bishop in the future. And then you got a little sprinkle of Storm at the end,
Right.
getting into Forge, and I'm
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised about that. Like, is that the current time how Forge is there? I don't know if he came back from the future. You know what I mean? Because he's supposed to be. technically in the future.
Not
Like,
exactly. Not exactly.
no?
Now, if you remember in the original show, and I think it was like season 3 or season 4, you remember that skirmish that they had with X Factor, and Forge was the liaison on that particular team.
Mm,
That was the
that,
young Forge. I mean, that was the young Forge. But that doesn't change the future because that was the old Forge that Bishop was dealing with. Because remember, he had the white hair and everything. Well, he had the
mm,
white stripe on his hair and everything.
you're right. You're
So
right.
yeah, so that shouldn't affect, what's going on now because he just through the natural course of time he aged into the old Forge, and that's the one that Bishop is dealing with. But the young Forge, he would still be alive in this timeline. He would just be younger, which he
Got,
is now.
gotcha. He looked smooth, suave, man, in that bar. Like to pick up on the storm right there.
Right, right, right. Well, they had a thing in the comics. That was they're alluding to that storyline that's coming up. I think in the comics it was called Life Death. And they would do that every year. They would because Storm, she had lost her powers for several years.
Mm,
And every year Chris Claremont would do a storyline that revisit to where she was, and it was about her journey of getting her powers back and things like that. And during that time, Forge was the one that was actually helping her get her powers back. So
mm,
I'm assuming that they're going to adapt that into this animated in this animation. So
hmm
yeah.
I also I liked when Morph transformed into the I forgot the character's name. I should have done a little more homework, but the four-armed lady from Mojo World, she
Oh,
was that
Spiral.
Spiral, that's right. She
Yeah,
could
yeah.
like create portals, right? And even just seeing her, it kind of gives some Easter eggs and callbacks to previous episodes from the 90s. And
Mhm.
I like, when he kind of just changes to somebody and then it's like, oh yeah, that person exists, and
Uh-huh.
hopefully we'll run into them down the line. Uh,
Mhm.
but
So
yeah,
I did want to ask you, how did you feel about what did you feel about them leaving that up in the air about, when the real Gene was actually kidnapped? How did you feel about that? Did you want some type of resolution with that, or were you okay with them kind of just leaving that open, or maybe they'll leave it, for a future episode or something like that? How did you feel about that? Because now it's kind of like I'm like, man, I hope that they didn't they're not going to retcon it and be like, oh, well, she was captured way back since season 2, or she was switched out
so
way back since season 2.
So I think that leaves room for interpretation and us guessing. I think they may elaborate, hopefully. But do you remember in the episode, like her and Madam Pryor were like, we don't know which of us are the Phoenix. Like
Mm,
the fact of when that swap happened, not
mm,
knowing that whether if that was the original Jean Grey or if that was, Madam Pryor.
mm.
So again, I don't know. I was hoping that there was 2 episodes this week, to be honest with you, or last week. I was so I wanted more, man. I was left at a cliffhanger, and it was a good wrap up in the episode, but I wanted more. Like you dropped 2 episodes in the first week, I'm like, I need more, man. Like
Yeah,
you can't just leave our palate just like with an appetizer and then not give us more content, after that. And we got to wait a week for that to happen afterwards to kind of explain things. But um
yeah.
oh, the one part where it showed Mr. Sinister in the room, if you remember that, there's that link that he had with the crystal. Um I do wonder about like that kind of control he has, whether he could do that with other people and whatnot.
Well,
Uh, I
uh,
mean,
since he created her, I would
mm,
assume that he is a scientist, and that's his whole thing about genetics and everything. So I'm assuming that that's part of his powers because remember, Apocalypse is the one who created him. So, Apocalypse, his thing is, conversion and having that influence over people. So I would assume that he has that same type of power.
mm, that's
So,
right.
especially with Madeline, because he created her. She's like I hate to say it, but born in a petri dish, you know,
Right.
and
Right.
so I would assume that he would have that type of control. Now, um, whether he can have that hypnotic control over just random people, like say if Cyclops or somebody were to walk into a room, I don't think he would have that type of power. I think he would have to somehow be involved
Mm,
in their genetics in order to have that type of power. So
yeah,
that's my assessment of it. But
right.
anyway, I lost you on screen, man. Can you still see me?
I can see you. I don't see myself anymore.
You
I
don't
froze
see.
earlier, and I did the same
I
thing.
was hoping it was just come back, but apparently not. But anyway, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But
Everything else.
yeah, so yeah, I just wanted your quick take on it. What else I did want to ask you, how did you feel about the voice acting? Did it move you? I was saying that I thought that the voice acting is superb once again, coming from the original show into this. And I know we have certain recasts. Most of the original actors have come back, but we had recasts with some of the newer actors and everything because voice acting changes over the year. People's voices change over the years.
Mm,
And this actress is doing the voice of Jean Grey slash Goblin Queen.
mm,
She actually she did Jean Grey before, but she did it in the Wolverine and the X-Men animated series. They
mm.
came on Nickelodeon. And she also did it in a couple of games too, the Marvel vs. Capcom games. And
Okay.
I was saying that I think that she's doing a fantastic job of not only matching the original Jean Grey actress Catherine Disher from the 90s, but she's also bringing her own flavor and three-dimensionality to the characters. I thought this episode, it really got a chance for her to stretch her acting chops as
Mm,
far as like, because she had to not only do Jean Grey, but she also had to do Jean Grey, who thinks that she's someone else, and then she had to end up turn around and do the Goblin Queen. So it's kind of like three different characters,
right.
or three
Right.
different personalities. So I just think the voice acting with her in particular in this episode was fantastic, and of course all the others is great also. But what
Yeah.
are your thoughts on the voice acting in this particular episode, and how did it move you, or did it move you at all?
Sure. Yeah. One thing I discovered from the voice actor perspective is the original voice actor for Gambit is actually going to be the voice of Cable. Um,
Hmm.
so there is a new voice actor for Gambit, which I discovered just recently.
Mm.
He took over that mantle, and so that voice actor who originally was the voice of Gambit is now going to be the voice of Cable. So
Okay.
just keep an eye on that aspect. But I thought the voices were great. The best voice acting that can happen um, today in terms of like following up the original series. So yeah, I had no problem with the voice acting in my opinion. I thought it like everything was streamlined and um yeah, everyone sounded pretty good from the
Mm.
Beast is still Beast. I love it. You got some of the Logan taglines and moments as well. And yeah, no complaints on my end. I enjoyed every part of it.
And I got to mention before we get out of here. I know I got to mention. I know your favorite scene is when Bishop
Yo,
like hit me and Cyclops hit him with that optic blast. I was thinking about. I was
yo,
like, I know that's Teddy's
bro.
favorite. He was waiting on that one,
My
and he
wife
hit
should
him.
have my
I was
wife
like,
should have
oh
recorded.
man, what did you
D-
think about that, man?
Dude, my wife should have recorded my reaction. Let's just say we were eating dinner. I stood up and jumped around. Like I felt like I was absorbing the energy and mimicking him. I swear to God, I was hyped up beyond hyped up. Like I needed a cold shower. That was one of the most dopest moments that I've seen across the board. That's what I
Right, right. I knew he was gonna like that, man. I was like, oh, I know Teddy thinking about that scene. I gotta maybe I should call him and see if he calm or if he's screaming out loud or something like that. But yeah, that whole scene was just tight. I was like, yeah, that's tight. But I figured, they had to do that to give him a real cool scene because now I don't know if he's gonna be. I know he'll probably show up again, probably towards the end of the season. But I don't
Yeah,
know how long he's gonna be gone. Is he gonna come back? Maybe not next episode, but the next episode
yeah.
because we only
Oh,
have 7 episodes in this season.
right.
So I know they're going to have to revisit that story to kind of, because we're supposed to get, well, I don't want to give it away, but,
Yeah,
well, yeah, I don't want to give it away. Some people, they don't like spoilers. I mean, I've seen character designs of characters who's going to show up, in the
sure.
series, um,
Can I
but yeah,
say
that's it. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on it. So what are you looking forward to next? Like, what you looking forward to in these next coming episodes?
Yeah, before I say that, I just wanted one last little insert about Bishop real quick. In X-Men Days of Future Past, that moment when he absorbed all that energy from the Sentinels, I feel like that was a missed opportunity. But that's just my opinion. Because he absorbed that optic blast from the Cyclops and
Mm.
supercharged and could have just exerted it back out. But that's just me and my haterade
I'm trying to
of
think what scene you talking about, the 2 episode Days of Future Past from the original show, right?
the live action
Oh,
one.
you talking about, oh, we don't discuss
Yeah.
that here. We don't discuss the movies.
Okay. Let's move on then.
Look, that's
Hold on.
like that meme from what's that Avengers meme with Black Panther? We
Oh
don't
yeah.
do that here. We don't discuss that. We don't discuss Fox movies here.
All right. Forget I even said that. All right. Back to your question. What I'm looking forward to.
Yeah,
Um.
no, but yeah, they did Bishop so wrong in those Fox films. He only had one. In fact, he only had 2 lines in that film, right?
Something like that.
I'm ready, Storm. And then he was like mean mugging throughout the whole thing. I'm like, man,
Yeah. We
just
don't. We
not
don't
put
talk
him in the
about.
movie. If you're not going to utilize him properly, just don't put him in the movie. But
Yeah. We don't
anyway,
talk about Bruno here. Yeah. Yeah. So what I'm looking forward to definitely is Bishop in the future and seeing how the storyline is going to be with Cable and then seeing where the Mr. Sinister storyline goes as well, because obviously there's been references in him along with I definitely want to see more of Gambit. I kind of did a little bit of a peek at the upcoming episodes, and there was a little hint in terms of the title that I don't want to say anything, but I think may have some some moments where people can shine a little bit now that we haven't really got to see yet.
oh, okay. So did you get a chance to look at I know it came out, they listed all the title episodes before. I don't know why they do that. I mean, why give spoilers away before? I mean, you know how we comic book nerds, we can figure things out like that.
Yeah,
Just by a title. Oh, so you're saying that Apocalypse is going to show up in this episode just by a title? We can know who's going to show up, what
yeah.
characters will be there. I'm like, man,
We just need a couple keywords, and then we put them together, man. We're like Sherlock Holmes up in here.
yeah, man. So I'm like, why would you give out the title? So you did look at all the titles that
Yes.
came out that they released.
I surely did. I had to make sure because I was hoping for more episodes, but there are not as many as I was hoping. So I hope that that this season is super successful and they they just keep ramping more episodes out for the next couple seasons and don't
Well,
stop.
Well, I'll end it on a positive note. One, they of course season 2 has already been greenlit, so we know we're gonna get a season 2. That's in the bag. And just before I did this recap, I saw a link that said that season 3 is already underway.
What?
I know, right? So we already gonna get a season 3, a 2 and 3. So I'm hoping at least you think we get 4 more seasons. So we got how many
Oh,
was the first animated series? That was like what, 5 seasons? Or was it
I think it was five.
5 seasons? So
Yeah.
just make it another 5. Just that we have a
Perfect.
round number of 10 all together.
Yes, sir.
That's what
Brilliant.
I think.
Outstanding. I can't wait, man. This
Yeah, so
Wednesday can't come soon enough.
yeah, so man, we got a lot to look forward to in these next coming weeks, man. Just to think, 7 more X-Men uh wonderfulness is coming our way. So just
Yes,
I was saying that they did so much in just these 3 episodes. Man, just imagine what they're going to do in 7 episodes. I mean, there's just so much depth and and just the characters are rich and they're just popping off the screens. The story is not like no filler. It's all just like leading to something. They have a roadmap, so to speak. It looks like they
Mhm.
know where they're going. They have a roadmap of what they want to do and they're telling the story and there's no filler. It's all, just wonderful storytelling. And it's fantastic that they are able to, do so much, storytelling and so much characterization in just 3 episodes. I just still can't get over that. But
Yeah.
anyway, man, I appreciate you coming in and doing this quick review. And yeah, guys, so I'm gonna continue to do reactions. They're a little bit slow coming, but I'm gonna continue to do reactions and recaps of X-Men 97 as the season goes on. And I even came up with a title. The title is gonna be called X Cooler Talk.
Yeah,
So you might see that title on this particular episode starting now.
there we go.
Um, but yeah, thanks Teddy for joining me with
Yeah.
this recap. So tell the people where they can find you and what you got going next. I know I say this every week, but it could be somebody new.
It's all good. Thanks for having me again, as always. Pleasure talking about this. This is one of my passions, and I'm glad we get to have some nerd talk and get to talk about our favorite animated series here. But you can find me at Instagram at tbiz158. If not, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks, you Wash.
Uh, I wish I can see you right now. Hey, see, hey, look, fancy, look. I'm new, I'm not perfect, I'm not your like these super YouTubers. This is just a raw, real reaction. And
Yeah.
that's what you want. You want somebody that's real, that can make mistakes on camera, right? You believe me, right? You know what I'm talking about, right?
You know what I'm talking about?
Anyway, I'll put your face in post because I know we can't see you on camera, but I'm working through it, guys. I'm working through it. So anyway, you can find me on all the interwebs just at Gouache Universe. And thanks again, Teddy, for joining me with this recap. Hopefully you'll be a special guest in the weeks to come. I have other special guests that wants to do recaps and reactions also. And until next time, I'll see you in the universe.